Here in the U.S., Democratic presidential contenders clashed over a number of issues in their debate Tuesday night, held less than 3 weeks before voters in Iowa head to the polls to kick off the 2020 primary season. VOA's Jim Malone has the evening's highlights.
A total of 6 Democratic contenders clashed over trade, health care, and foreign policy. And there was plenty of criticism of President Donald Trump and the recent tensions with Iran. Former Vice President Joe Biden.
We have lost our standing in the region. We have lost the support of our allies. The next president has to be able to pull those folks back together.
Biden took heat from Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders for Biden's support of the Iraq War. And Sanders said he worries the confrontation with Iran could get much worse.
And right now, what I fear very much is we have a president who is lying again and could drag us into a war that is even worse than the war in Iraq.
A similar concern from former South Bend, Indiana mayor and military veteran Pete Buttigieg.
We can continue to remain engaged without having an endless commitment of ground troops. But what's going on right now is the president's actually sending more.
Some of the candidates want to reduce U.S. troop presence in the Middle East, and Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren says it's time to withdraw U.S. troops from Afghanistan.
No one has a solution and an end point. We need to get our combat troops out. They are not helping create more safety for the United States or the region.
For billionaire and political newcomer Tom Steyer, it's time for a fresh approach on national security.
It isn't so much about experience, it's about judgment. If you've been listening to this, what we are hearing is 20 years of mistakes by the American government in the Middle East.
Democrats also jousted over which of them is best equipped to beat President Trump in the election. Warren sought to dispel the notion that a woman candidate would be at a disadvantage.
Can a woman beat Donald Trump? Look at the men on this stage. Collectively, they have lost 10 elections. The only people on this stage who have won every single election that they've been in are the women, Amy and me.
This was the final debate before Iowa voters head to the polls on February 3rd to begin the process of choosing a Democratic nominee to take on President Trump in November. Jim Malone, VOA News, Washington.
Now, for more insight on Tuesday's debate, I'm joined live from Iowa by Philip Crowther, an international reporter with the Associated Press Global Media Services. Hello, Philip.
Hello, good to be with you.
Did it get tense on the stage?
Yeah, it did at times, maybe not quite as much as we might have expected, and that's because of what came before and, of course, also what comes after the debate. After this debate, we go very close indeed to the Iowa caucuses. 19 days now to go before the first Americans get to vote and decide who their Democratic candidate might be to go up against Donald Trump in November. But what came before, more than anything, was an announced spat between Senators Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren. You heard part of the senator from Massachusetts' answer there to that specific debate. Now, what happened here was a CNN report came out 2 days ago that had details of a private meeting between the two senators, who are friends, by the way, Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren, during which Bernie Sanders told her that he believed that a woman could not win in 2020. She, of course, disagrees with that. Bernie Sanders says he never even said that, and that led to those responses on stage from Bernie Sanders saying that yes, he would support a woman to become president, and yes, he believes that a woman can become president. From Elizabeth Warren, part of that answer you already heard. She says emphatically that she can win in 2020.
So, Philip, who came out the winner and where do things go from here?
There wasn't a clear winner last night. Joe Biden, the former vice president, again with a little bit of a difficult performance on stage. He's still failed to impress really over these 7 out of a total of 12 debates. He's still the favorite nationally to get that nomination for the Democratic Party. He's not necessarily the favorite to win here in Iowa on the 3rd of February during those caucuses. There are essentially 4 of those 6 candidates we saw on stage last night here at Drake University who have a chance of winning those caucuses. former Vice President Joe Biden, of course, then the aforementioned Senators Warren and Sanders, but also Pete Buttigieg, the former mayor of South Bend in Indiana. All of them could come away with a win here in just 19 days' time.
Philip, thank you. Philip Crowther is with the Associated Press Global Media Services.